Back, everyone. You know, sometimes emergencies do happen, and just in case, we want to make sure that you're prepared. So we invited Jared Gessler. He's from the Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Management. Welcome, Jared.
Hello.
All right. So sometimes things happen, whether you're at home, at work, maybe in your car. So you're going to talk today about maybe just having the right things to make sure that you're prepared, right?
Sure. So it's National Preparedness Month.
Yes.
So we wanted to take the opportunity just to revisit the topic of having a kit and going over a plan.
Yeah. So what kind of things, like, let's say at home, you know, tornadoes, you know, we do see them around here, you know, could be flooding, could be anything really, but what kind of kits would you have at home?
So a kit that will just help you survive during a utility outage or a natural disaster is always a great idea to have. So we recommend having at least a gallon of water per person per day on hand for several days. We recently saw a couple communities that were affected by their water supply being affected. So we highly recommend preparing for that now. It's something that's pretty easy. Water is pretty cheap up at any of the stores, and so we highly recommend going over and looking at how are you going to have water on hand. If you do have any sort of water emergency, you'll find out pretty quickly how much water you use in a day. So preparing for that now is extremely valuable.
Right. So what I'm thinking of a kit, I'm guessing that, let's say, the whole family would know exactly with this one location maybe of where this kit would be, and it would probably have like food that maybe not non-perishables, I'm guessing, and like maybe a flashlight or...
Yep. So several days of non-perishable food that the family enjoys eating. Don't just buy lifeboat rations.
That's the key,
if
right?
Nobody eats them,
then
right?
everyone's happy then.
Right. Yep. Also, have if it's canned food, have a can opener that'll do it if there's no power. Also, make sure you have on hand the medication that you need. Like you said, a flashlight. The ability to charge your cell phone or something if the power's out. You also have sanitation supplies. I like to recommend that if you look at your hygiene kit that you would take on a trip and probably replicate that, so you have your toothbrush and your hand sanitizer, your soap, and everything in that.
Now, we've had a little bit of cooler weather, which reminds me of winter coming, you know. So what about stuff that you might want to put in your car in case of an emergency?
So with your car, make sure you have appropriate clothing if you're stuck on the side of the road. Maybe a blanket. Making sure your vehicle's well maintained as well is recommended. Some water on hand. If it's sitting out in the cold, make sure you have water that's not frozen. But your clothing, maybe some food in your vehicle as well is highly recommended.
I've seen some people carry like these bright orange flags or cones as well, just in case they, let's say, slid off the road in the case of icy conditions, and that would be something that they could put in the trunk. What about something like kitty litter? Is that something that you would recommend?
I've seen it used. And I've heard of it being recommended, giving you that extra traction and stuff in case you are on the side of the road and you just need to get yourself out. I would recommend knowing how to do that if that's your plan.
Yeah. And then also, last but not least, but work, you know, you think about like the companies at work, they have something, I'm guessing, that would be something that you would recommend, or probably some sort of plan for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. We also do CPR AED in the county as well. So knowing where that stuff is something that takes very little effort, but can prepare you for a pretty major day in your life if you have to use it. Having the supplies that you need to be able to, if there is an event that happens while you're at work. But also something that's really important is knowing how you're going to get home and maybe a couple alternate routes. So just having that plan and thinking things through ahead of time.
All right, well, Jared, thank you so much for coming on today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, well, don't go away, because better